Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from CLover159 from the Am I Overreacting subreddit, and it says, am I overreacting? Is my boyfriend valid for feeling this way? Okay, so I'm 17 female. My boyfriend is 18 male. So I was awake and I noticed he was online on Instagram, so I text asking him why he's awake and if he's okay. And he starts responding to me like this. Yeah, I mean it's late for me to be awake, but I slept a lot earlier so I'm not tired. Anyway, I'm asking because I feel bad now. I feel like I didn't reassure him enough and I'm sad I let him go back to sleep angry. I get he fears I'll cheat, but I don't think I've ever given him a reason. I feel like this comes from his previous relationship, but I'm really trying to heal whatever happened to cause him to act this way. But it doesn't seem to work. I don't know, did I not reassure him enough? Also, he says I go out a lot, but he knows the only times I go out is with my two friends, and I always make sure to turn on my location. And even he has my friends' addresses, which they don't mind because they know it's for him to make sure I'm at their houses. And he FaceTimes me sometimes when I'm out, so I'm not sure if I should stay home like he wants to. Am I not doing enough? Edit. Also, thank you for all the concern. I appreciate it so much, and I see people saying something about me getting hit, but I won't even give him the chance by the way. He's scared of my dad. I don't know why for those concerned about my safety. I will definitely tell my dad about this behavior because he has no idea he is acting this way. But thank you for the concern and the advice. So OP actually added the text exchange, and it went like this. Opie said, "What are you doing awake, baby?" He replied, "I don't know, to be honest." The reply was, "Is everything okay? You should go back to sleep, it's so late." He said, "No, I didn't want to say nothing, but I had a dream you cheated on me." Opie responded, "I'm sorry. Of course that won't happen, I'm truly in love with you, and only you." He said, "I don't know, you're being suspicious, asking me to go back to sleep." Opie said, "I said that's because it's 3 a.m. baby, I promise." He said, "Then why would I have a dream like that? My gut is probably trying to warn me." Opie says, "I'm not sure why. I mean, you do worry about that often, and sometimes when something is in our head all day, that we dream of it. How can I help?" He said, "You can't. Every time you take more than 5 minutes to text back, I get pissed." Opie says, "But why? I always reassure you, love. Have classes." He says, "Exactly. You're around other guys and you probably talk to them too." Opie says, "I only have like max 5 guys in the same class and I don't talk to them. You can ask Lexi." He replies, "Nah, she's a hoe too and will cover for you." Opie says, "2? Are you implying I'm one?" He replies with a skull emoji and says, "No, but you might be one behind my back." Opie says, "What does that even mean? Why'd you always act like this?" And he says, "Because honestly, convinced you're doing shit behind my back." Opie says, "All because of a dream. I'm always with Lex or Bree, and you have my location and my passwords. What else can I do?" He says, "Stay home. It's really not that hard." Opie says, "Yeah, I know, it's not, but I can't stay home 24/7. You know how shit it is here. I feel suffocated, especially when my mum is always finding something to argue about me with." He says, "Excuses. Now you're proving my point for real. Only hoes can't ever stay home. How would you feel if I went out every week with my homeboys?" OP says, "I mean, I won't tell you what to do, so you could if you want, but just be safe. Also, stop calling me that. I haven't done anything. You're calling me that based off a dream. I'm sorry you had it, but it's not gonna happen." He says, "So now you don't care if I go out? That shit is dumb. You don't ever be getting jealous about me. That shit pisses me off." OP says, "That's because I trust you to not do something." He says, "Alright, I'm gonna just go back to sleep. You feel trying to get me pissed." OP says, "Sorry, I love you, sleep well." And according to the timestamps on that, he read it at 4:08 a.m. and then never replied again. There is so many reasons to break up with this dude ASAP. He's called you and your friends hoes. He's telling you, if you take longer than 5 minutes to text him back that you're cheating and that you need to stay at home to avoid cheating on him. And I know it's difficult to judge someone's anger, but the fact that he's saying himself that he's getting pissed off about this whole situation is wild in itself. The amount of control, manipulation you see here is all reasons to be out of this situation, and The way that you're putting up with it, say that you still love him, I can only imagine it's down to sort of normalization. I wonder how long he's been like this towards the OP, or has he been looking at certain things in particular to turn him this way? Either way, you need to get yourself out of that mess immediately and have people around you when you do tell him that you're breaking up, because whatever he's displaying right now is super concerning. But Chronic Dream says, I wish people would be nicer to you in the comments. You're so young. Hopefully I can help and be kind at the same time. So this is a very big red flag. This is a controlling, borderline abusive situation. Anyone who says to you that when you take longer than 5 minutes to respond that it pisses him off that much, that's bad. And it sounds like he's the one who may have cheated or thought about it at least. It sounds like he's projecting. Projecting is a psychological term to explain when someone accuses you of something you've never done. It's usually because they are doing it themselves and feel guilty and don't want to be caught, so they throw it back on you. Honestly, if I were in your shoes, I'm breaking up. He also said something not nice about someone named Lexi. I'm going to assume that's your friend. When people talk badly about people for no reason, that's also a red flag. How people talk about people when that person isn't around says a lot. Opie says thank you so much. I wish too, but I didn't exactly think everyone was about to be super nice, but I get they're concerned. Thank you so much for this. I really didn't realize this all was damn near abusive until these comments. I appreciate them so much. Short Ad says, in my experience, the one who is constantly casting accusations of cheating is usually the one who is cheating. OP, you are way too young to put up with this kind of behavior and disrespectful treatment. It is not your responsibility to heal him from any past traumas. And it's not fair that he is punishing you for someone else's actions, which is exactly what he's doing. Based off this conversation, he is very emotionally unstable and an abusive person, and I fear it will only get worse. I would seriously consider cutting ties and moving on, and be safe about it, especially since he's at your location, and knows your friends' addresses, and has your passwords that could end up being dangerous. And one more comment from Deborah, who says, oh geez girl, he's only 18 and he's already clocking how to manipulate you and take control of your life. You're young. Yes, I know, but my advice would be the same no matter your age, and this is toxic as fuck. Do something for your future self and end this now before he gaslights you and manipulates you into wasting some of the best years of your life with this dropkick. And like one of the commenters said, there was a whole bunch of comments that were pretty brutal. I mean, this is a 17-year-old learning about relationships in this way. Like I said previously, when things like this get normalized in relationships, it becomes what it says, they're normal. But OP did come in with an update and said, sorry this update took hours, but I did it. I broke up with him. Thanks to these comments and the support, I was not surprised to see how he reacted. Cussing, calling me out of my name, and even accused me for leaving him for someone else, rather than seeing I broke up with him because he's being abusive. I'm hurt, not because I exited this, but because my head is stuck in the past of the fake version of him where he was kind and when our relationship was great. I'm emotional about it right now, but I will get over it. I also want to say thank you all so much for the support, the comments, and the advice as well. I truly would have never even thought to end this because in my head, I had no idea this was considered abuse. I just thought it was insecurity I could fix. I will be forever grateful, and I'm glad I asked on here. Thank you so much to everyone. Also to the people who were straight up rude, calling me an idiot and making me feel like this was my fault. Please learn to be kinder. It doesn't take much. Anyway, sorry for the long update, but since you all supported me, I owed it to you all. I'm eternally grateful for the help. I'm just relieved to see OP got out of that situation, and I hope she stays vigilant for some time. 17 years old and dealing with this kind of shit. And thinking from his perspective as well, 18 and having that kind of mindset doesn't bode well, does it? But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now our next story comes from a throwaway account, and it says, my 31 female, husband 34 male, wants biological children and is acting resentful towards our adopted daughter. How do I fix this? My husband and I adopted a little girl 3 years ago. She's now 6 years old and the brightest ball of sunshine, genuinely sweet and lively. Lately though, my husband has completely changed in the way he treats her and changed his views on what we initially agreed on. To explain, I've always wanted children, but it was always with adoption in mind. It is not due to infertility, it's just I wanted to due to different reasons. I've told my husband as much in the past, and although he didn't understand why at first, he came around to the idea and seemed excited too. So we decided to adopt, and at first he seemed genuinely happy and was a loving father to her. For roughly the past year though, he has started acting weird. It started with him making comments about how he would like to have biological children. It was never something big, just offhanded, but I still found it weird and told him as much. He stopped doing it, but around the same time he started acting more dismissive towards our daughter. He stopped spending as much time with her inside and especially outside of the house. Rarely taking her anywhere anymore, and it got so bad that he even dismissed her when she tried to get him to play or spend time with her. I talked to him about it and he just said he was stressed. It got better for a while, but then the same happened again. And this is how it's been going for the past couple of months. So at one point I decided to talk to him, not asking him to do better, but just understand what was wrong. He told me that although he loved our daughter, as a man he craved to have his own biological children, and that our daughter is old enough to have a younger sibling now, and that we should try for one. I told him the same thing. I said years ago, and several times after that, and I did not want that, and reminded him that back then he was okay with that too. He said that his bond with our daughter would get stronger if we had a biological child, and I was so incredibly angry and heartbroken. I don't know what to do. I don't want to have another child, and I hate how he treats our daughter now. I have thought about counseling, but I'm just wondering if anyone else has gone through the same. At the end of the day, I know I'll put my daughter above all else, and seeing how sad she's been lately just breaks my heart. I feel like a complete failure as a mother. I would honestly appreciate any insight from people that have gone through anything like this. That is absolutely heartbreaking for that little girl. I mean, you said your husband is resentful towards her because he wants a biological child. So he's punishing her for it and kind of using that as leverage to getting a biological child. Saying that his bond would get stronger if they did have a bio kid, which, I don't believe that at all. For me, honestly, I don't know how you look past that, how you can look at the way he's treating a 6-year-old right now. I certainly wouldn't be able to look past that. That's just absolutely awful. Complaint says, I'm calling BS on having a biological child strengthening his bond with your daughter. Unfortunately, it sounds like you already know what you need to do for the sake of your child, and it's not getting pregnant with this dude. Another commenter says, as an adoptee, divorce your husband. I'm really side-eyeing the whole he came around to it because it sounds like he never really was on board. But what's past has happened, and the focus needs to be on what's best for this 6-year-old child. Quiet says, he knows his bond won't get stronger. It'll get worse because he won't view her as his own compared to a biological child. He may have to look at splitting, and he can just pay child support since he isn't invested as he thought he would be. You're not a failure. He is. He failed to uphold his original vows and sentiment. Pride says, as someone who was adopted as a baby, I can tell you that being given up by your biological parents is hard enough to deal with. It comes with a lot of challenges and often leads to issues with bonding, attachment, and fear of being abandoned. You're this little girl's mother, the only one she has. You chose her. Now you need to protect her from further harm, even or especially when that means separating her from a father who will cause her more harm than you can imagine right now. Get her into a safe environment. Don't make it worse by replacing her with a biological child because your worthless husband manipulates you into it. Be a mother. Both of you will be better off away from him. And one more comment that says, does he understand what he is doing to your daughter? Bio dad or not, he's dismissing his daughter. Kids have a great ability to internalize that and make that their fault. I don't know if she knows she's adopted, and she should, but that's a different topic for a different thread. But if she doesn't, she will think it's because she isn't pretty enough, smart enough, kind enough, whatever. If you have a bio child with your husband without getting tons of counseling first, your daughter will absolutely feel the difference. Your husband is being an ass and a really lousy dad. If he refuses counseling, take your daughter and go, or make him go. You can't allow him to do this to her for one more day. So, at some point later, OP comes back in with an update and says, I've read all your comments and cleared my head. There are some things that I wanted to share with some of you, especially with the majority of people that are concerned for my daughter's well-being, and especially those who are adoptees themselves and share their views and experiences with me. There are also some things that stuck out to me which I wanted to clear up. First of all, under no circumstances did I consider having biological children with my husband, after he expressed that that is what he wanted. I made that decision for myself years ago, and I thought my husband was fine with that, although now I'm realizing just fine, despite the excitement he had shown back then, was not enough. I should have noticed some signs earlier. I can't stop thinking that I could have prevented some of my daughter's hurt by thinking more with my head early on. As for what I'd be doing going forward, divorce had already been something I considered before posting on here, but due to me overthinking, I circled back to possibly overreacting and wanted more opinions outside of my immediate friend circle. Ultimately, as many of you pointed out, I can't really imagine a future where he truly treats our daughter the way she deserves. I've come to terms with that and was stupidly blinded by what I had built up with my husband over the years. I know now therapy won't change how he feels, but I will still consider it for my daughter, depending on how she deals with these upcoming months, although I'm inclined to consider therapy no matter the outcome since she has already shown to have noticed her father's neglect. In my post I said I always put my daughter above all else, and I truly had done so, but I have absolutely failed her for these last couple of months, dragging the situation on longer than needed and with that extending her hurt. That's why I wanted to get the divorce over with as soon as possible. I've already begun consultation with a lawyer, but I'm still keeping other options open. I won't tell my husband about this yet, but once I've gathered all my thoughts, I'll probably talk to him to express my concerns and disappointment, and especially the effect this treatment has had on our daughter one final time. Though he has already said that I've been avoidant lately, so I will talk to him about everything sooner rather than later. But I really want to keep a level head and say everything I want to say. I can't see him the same way I did before, and I don't think anything he says will really change that. I don't know whether he'll still want to be in her life, but even if he does to some extent, I don't want him to be in it only half-heartedly, and I simply can't see him fully committing, so cutting him out of my daughter's life might be the best way. However, my husband's family really adores my daughter and always showers her with love and gifts, so I'm hoping that we can separate amicably, and I don't have to separate my daughter from any more people that love her unconditionally than needed. From now on, I really will put my daughter above all else, and I really want to thank everyone that has shown concern for my daughter, given me advice, and told me what I've been doing wrong. Fjordgard says to this, I'm glad you came to this conclusion, but be on edge. You might push for custody to avoid paying child support. Please also make sure that your daughter is elsewhere when you talk to him, and just to be absolutely sure, you are safe as well, / someone knows what's going on in case things turn ugly. I know you might think this is unneeded, but you never know how ugly someone can truly be. And now you're already learning that your husband doesn't mind upsetting a girl he adopted as his own. I wouldn't trust this man and thus do my best to ensure my safety. Bright says, OP, I think you made the right call. Your daughter deserves parents who love her unconditionally, and sadly it appears your husband doesn't. I just want to comment on, and the commenter quotes about I don't know whether he will still want to be in her life, and then says, I don't know if you did it intentionally or subconsciously, but in your original post you referred to your daughter as our daughter. Throughout this post it's always my daughter. Looks like you've already started mentally distancing yourself from him and accepting that he is no longer a loving and reliable father figure to your daughter. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit from Zealous Ideal Ear 7529 and says, Am I the arsehole for filing a police report on a good friend who was caught on video stealing my boyfriend's camera at a dinner? She has refused to help me either replace it in full or contribute to the cost of replacing it. More context. We're out at dinner one night at an expensive hotel. My boyfriend let me borrow his Canon G7X 1800 camera to bring to take pictures with my friends. At the conclusion of the dinner, I went up to the room and realized the camera was gone. I went back right down to the table and no one had seen it. I immediately got with hotel security and she is on video clear as day swiping the camera when my back was turned and shoving it in her purse. I covered for her initially with my friend and contacted her to find a resolution. She had taken the camera with her and my other friends to a club after dinner, which I did not attend, and lost it there. For background, this is my good college friend who I know well, the camera thief. She has been taken on free trips to Coachella and St. Baths on my dime. Not kidding, as well as many other things. We've done a lot together and are good friends, so I expected her to feel sorry. Initially, she lied, saying she did not have it. When I told her we had video, she confessed and then said yes, she took it but lost it at the next bar she went to with my other friends. It is now gone. I asked her to help me replace it by going in on me with the cost. She has refused all measured or resolutions, and now I feel like I have nothing left but to file a police report and let them handle it. It's impacted my relationship, and I'm furious my friend is not helping at all. Why should I be on the hook for something she stole? I've given her 3 weeks to help me resolve this, but she insists she's going to do nothing. I'm being pressed by my boyfriend to either replace the camera or help him file a report with her info and the footage. I even asked her to just throw in half or less than half to help the cost to help, but she still refuses. I do not want to get her in trouble, but I'm at the point where I feel she really does not care. Your friend then lost that camera. She's got it stashed somewhere, hoping that you're going to give up and move on. She's probably going to sell it because she knows it's worth. But this isn't no friend. You've literally got her on camera stealing from you. You've given her 3 weeks to make it right and offered to let her pay half, and she's doing nothing and is going to continue to do nothing. This isn't a friend, and treat her like such. I personally think you've been way too lenient with her. The moment she was on camera stealing that from you, should have been filing that report right there and then. These are simply consequences of her own actions, but Pleasant says you're the arsehole. Is there a reason you're choosing your thieving friend over your boyfriend? She's made it clear she's not your friend and that she's not going to make this right. The police report should have been filed the moment she said she wasn't going to pay for it. If I were your boyfriend, I'd be reconsidering the relationship with you over this. You're really dragging your feet to make this right. Get the report made and replace his camera. Queen Levine says, you sincerely believe you're being a nice person to her in general. You're mistaken. You're the arsehole. She clearly feels entitled to steal from her friends, even the friends who have been super generous with her. How do you think she feels with people who are less close friends or co-workers? You've enabled her to steal from others. I guarantee you that she has, and that this is partially on you if you do not file this police report. When some other less fortunate person is unable to pay their rent and she has merely skated through proven incidents of theft, you could have been a part of the cause making that random stranger homeless. You've clearly not thought this through. File the police report, sue her for the full amount, do not spend another penny on her, ever. People who imagine themselves to be people pleasers, doing more harm than good. Shake my head. And there was a mix of you're the arsehole and not the arsehole comments in here, all basically saying the same thing though, that this is not a friend and you need to file a police report, otherwise you will be an arsehole for not doing so. But OP added several updates within the same post. First one said, I sent her a text this morning telling her if I do not receive the full cost of the camera or shipping confirmation of a new camera from an approved vendor to a provided address by the end of Friday, we'll be filing a report with the police Saturday morning. I felt like an arsehole typing this out to her, but I have to do it. Another update. She told me she is sick of me and that I will be receiving a tracking number by 12 Eastern on Friday, and not to blame her if the package is never received. I told her if she was my real friend, she'd be sorry, and in no way will I allow this to be flipped on me. Should I ask if the camera is new, or the one that disappeared? Another update says, she sent me a tracking number via FedEx. It says it is a waiting package. I've asked her repeatedly if she is sending me the original camera, assuming it magically turned up, or a new one. She refuses to answer and only tells me to stop bothering her. And the other update says, I am more and more convinced my friend, camera thief, took the camera hoping that I would just replace it for my boyfriend, gifting her a free camera. For background, this friend is heavily involved on Instagram and loves taking pictures. The Canon G7 is coveted by women because it is known as the Instagram camera. Even if you wanted to buy one at full price, they're out of stock everywhere. Let's hope it gets returned with this tracking. FedEx still says awaiting package, even though shipping info was sent to them at 7 PM yesterday. I just looked up the G7X and I just realized I've actually got one of these. It is a nice camera to be fair. But I hate to be that guy, but she's already laid down the groundwork to say you're not going to be receiving that camera back. In your second update, she already said not to blame her if the package is never received. So right now, you just need to be reporting this anyway. She's a thief. Report it. And she doesn't seem to give a shit either about it. But what do you guys make of this situation? Are you in the report camp, or would you wait for that parcel to turn up? Yeah, right. Let us know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.